So as usual with these things, I'm trying to illustrate a certain reality through using opposition and like, obviously synthesizing opposites or synthesizing two ways, trying to find a common ground. And there's a lot of common ground when we talk about alchemy from Western tradition to Eastern tradition. So I guess um, what I'm trying to draw out of all of this and this comparison, and by drawing these names specifically, and love and all of this, is saying that this understanding of the universe can be taken to destroy and to create. Okay, and the more you push it towards creation as an individual with choice and free will, because we are creatures with free will, the more you will start ascending into this outer layer, the asma layer, okay, which is kind of protection or divine protection. But even this, you can reach and take into awful extremes. Because when we think of asma and protection, for me, what also comes to mind is hubris. Because if you have reached through an esoteric or alchemical or spiritual or religious path, this thing, this outer layer, this feeling of like whatever you do is going to be fine and there are not going to be any consequences, this is where we reach hubris. Well, the dangerous thing about all these types of knowledge, why these knowledges have been kept occulted, as in hidden, as in secret, or protected, is because a human being can reach a point where they believe through connection with the source that they are the source. And the thing is, because this outer layer, we can at some point, like, remember what we were saying before, when you reach the outer layer transformed and you create it with your own narrative or your own story in a sense, you will start wanting to manipulate it and change it to see how it works according to you. And that's where asma can go into hubris. And that's where creation can turn into destruction. And that's why we have powerful countries, global superpowers like the USA and Israel, who operate basically as if they have a divine protection, as if they have asma, because somehow they get away with shit, and they fall because of hubris. Like generally these people fall because of hubris, because at some point they will think nothing can touch me, until they realize that this can be broken. And this gets broken through love. That's the only thing that can break this. That's how I see it. The only thing that can break someone who thinks they are God, like Homer said with Achilles and Priam and all of these stories, they kind of tell the same thing. Jesus stood just a man, a carpenter, stood up against an empire. Hussein stood up against also like a family of political power and nobility, so okay, they perished and they lost their lives one way or another, but their story lives through love, and it lives still today. And because of these stories of love today, we will see the fall of empire. We are seeing it in a way. We are seeing how hubris is what made the USA think they can eradicate Iran in 2 days. Guess what? It's been like 6 months, maybe 5 months, 6, 7, I don't know. They still didn't break Iran, because this can be broken through love. And any person who dedicates their life for a cause, whatever it is, like any person who decides to go fight a huge machine knowing that they will die, and they're doing it out of they're not no one can be forced really to do this. It has to be out of your own free will. When you decide to self-sacrifice out of your own free will, that this destruction that is inevitable in the world, that you cause on yourself, so that you can actually return to the source, the world of memories, when you don't exist anymore. When you do these kinds of acts, the world grows, the world expands. But when you operate based on like ego, me and what I want and desire, and I like get too attached to the solid outer layer and want to manipulate just this, you will fall eventually. And with the fall will come even greater destruction. That's why this is like a no-go. Like really, you should let the E go. It doesn't. It doesn't make sense. It will fall. It will collapse eventually. Whereas these, like, just linger on the names and on the mother. Like, how much do these things bring beauty to the world? Like, just, I don't know. So yeah, love prevails in the end. We can do a whole nother video where we talk about love and the different things associated with love, because love is not one thing. And love is always compared to the source and God because it has many attributes and is hard to define, but we pick the ones that we like. And this is why this source can be understood. You can say that this is a black hole that gives vibrations and it sucks the world inside, like the main driving force of the world is destructive by nature. You can say that. You can make this association and create a whole framework and religion out of it, but it doesn't lead to anything good. That's why love is the only one that seems to lead the world towards growth. I wanted to say something. Like, I mean, this outer layer cycle, the loop, sometimes I see it as like a loop of like building something, then destroying it, then building something and destroying it. And I had this image like, okay, let's say this is what you have to do at some point in your life, like build, destroy, build, destroy. Just make sure every time you rebuild, it's harder to destroy first, like as an analogy. But then again, made me think of something like, buildings, cubes, solids. But somehow they have put the cube at the center of this, meaning anthropocentrism, the rule of the human who can take any form of rock and carve it into fine stone, masonry, you know, all of these things. It's somehow we live in a world where this is put at the center. Many say that this is Saturn energy rule. Like you can take this whole paradigm and like invert it in a way that the center is the material, the cube, the refined thing. You can also like symbolically it works, even visually it works. And some people say that this is the Saturn planetary rule, whereas the other one, the one of love, like all these names were actually, let's end like this. All these guys were actually sun worshippers, you know. That's why the source is understood as light. This has its own problems. So let's say Allah is at the center. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.